Well, hey everybody, Mike Griffith here of DawgNation.com, and I'm with Orlando Ledbetter, the Atlanta Falcons beat writer of the AJC, and we've been here in Indianapolis today, day one of the NFL Combine, and we're going to talk a lot about the Georgia football players. But D-Led, what did you see today? Anything jump out at you news-wise? What's the talk going to be coming out of day one?
Well, today, Elijah Holyfield spoke and Lamont Gilliard from Georgia spoke. So I kind of did some background work on them yesterday when Thomas Dimitroff and Dan Quinn were through the media room. So I asked them to go down the list of the Georgia players for us and give us a little background. And they like the running back, think he can run hard, and they want to see what he can do in the 40-yard dash. Elijah wanted to, he wants to show off that he can catch. He's got some hands, and only caught 7 balls in his career at Georgia, Mike, and he's eager to show the NFL teams that he can be a 3-down running back.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You look at a guy like Elijah Holyfield and everything he did on special teams. That's something that NFL teams like. You know, you're going to take a chance on a 5'10", 5'11", 215-pound guy. You want to know he can help you, and he did play on several special teams unit. You mentioned the 40-yard dash. Today, Elijah chose not to do the bench. He didn't do the 225. He'll do that at Pro Day at Georgia on March 20th. What about the strategy of not benching? Is it getting more and more typical for guys to wait until the Pro Day? And why do they do that?
Well, probably he might not like what he's lifting. He might not. It might not be as much as he'd like. You know, he might be on the low spectrum of running backs, and he doesn't want to put that out here just yet. You know, and then he might be more comfortable lifting in the weight room back at Georgia too. So that could be an issue. For some guys, but if he, they see how strong he is, they see him running through tackles, so I don't think strength's going to be one of his issues, so that's not going to be that big of a red flag for him. But the speed is a thing. I talked to Christian Coleman, who has the world record holder in the 60-yard indoor dash from Atlanta. Our Lady of Saints, his dad, Self Coleman, good friend of ours at the AJC, and he worked with Elijah and his movements, especially coming out of the blocks. He wanted him to kind of quiet some things down and be more horizontal in his takeoff, and then just have him mentally focus on getting on from point A to point B in the 40-yard dash, which is, not a football move. You're never going to run 40 yards straight unless you're covering kickoffs. So, and he talked about the difference of the mindset of the running back that's got to, set up his block and take off, quick burst, slow run, nothing, going sideways, turning it upfield, nothing to do with a 40-yard dash. So he had to get him mentally prepared to, get from point A to point B with the same form as fast as he could. And who better to train you than the world's fastest 60-yard dash runner, Christian Coleman.
Yeah, maybe even the fastest man in the world right now. He had the silver at the World Games, and Christian, of course, ran a sub-4 240. Wanted to play football, but was deemed a little bit too small, so he went off to Tennessee and had a national championship career. Now, you bring that up about Elijah. The thing that's missing, though, D-Led, they want to see the home run, and while the 40 doesn't necessarily transfer to that, they do get to see the burst, and they do get to see the top-end speed. What type of 40 does Elijah need to run if he's going to move into, I don't know where he's at right now, I would guess 4th or 5th round, if he's going to move into the second-day conversation?
Yeah, well, the target number for running backs, Mike, is 4.55, so as close as he can get to that, the better. That's from Gil Brand. He sent out a chart with desired target times and for all of the drills. And so in the 40, we'll go look at Elijah's numbers, across the target numbers, and that'll, kind of tell you where he's going to be at in the spectrum of running backs here.
Yep. A lot of running backs in this year's NFL draft. Some people think Holyfield maybe should have stayed another year. I just posted a story that talks about Elijah's decision, explains why he chose to come out. Both D-Led and I have video and stories up at AJC.com and DawgNation.com on Elijah Holyfield. Now, the other Georgia Bulldog that was here, another permanent team captain. There were 4 of them named. Elijah Holyfield, Lamont Gilliard were 2. Jake Fromm, of course, was another one, along with Jonathan Ledbetter. He'll be here later this week. But let's talk about Lamont Gilliard. Here's a guy a lot of people thought was the best center in the SEC, played in the East-West Shrine game, and yet when you look at his draft grade, it's maybe not as high as some of the other centers here. Why is that, D-Lab?
Well, you got some bigger centers here, and, you know, Lamont is a guy that people they're going to put him up on the board. The Falcons have him coming in for a test tonight, and they want to put him up on the board, see what he knows, sees what he can do. You know, that's a really specialized power position. They call the signals in the NFL, call the shifts and the protections. So, you know, they put a lot on the center's plate, and I'm sure they got him ready at Georgia for that. But, you know, center's a hard position. You know, he's definitely going to have to show some agility and some strength in the drills. But I don't know why he's in the 5th round right now. You know, he's got perfect size, 308, 6'4". You know, he played in the toughest conference. I don't know what's the separator between a guy like Gilliard and a guy like Jonah Williams, who everybody's talking about in the 1st round.
Right. Now, Gilliard, excuse me, now, remember, he can also play the offensive guard position. So that's good that he's got that flexibility to do that. He wants to show his athleticism. He believes he needs to be more consistent. Like Holyfield, he's going to wait till March 20th to do his bench press, but we expect him on the field drills. Now, you had a really interesting story, and a lot of the Georgia fans have been all over this. And I know you can't reveal your sources or tell us everything, but can you elaborate more on DeAndre Baker maybe going to the Falcons? They've got the 14th pick in the 1st round, the 13th pick in the 2nd round. Are we thinking he could be in the 1st round, 2nd round, or could there be a trade involved here?
Oh no, he's going the 1st round. You know, Mel Kiper's got him going 20 to Pittsburgh. But the Falcons are cornerback needy right now, Mike. They cut Robert Alford, their number 2 cornerback. They told their number 3 cornerback they were not re-signing him. They have people slated to move up. But in the NFL now, it's a passing league. You can't ever have enough cover cornerbacks. And then you got to look down the road a bit here too. Desmond Trufant is, you know, getting up there. He's under contract to 2022. So if you can get a guy that can come in and help you, maybe in the nickel and the dime, and you know, maybe take over a spot down the road, you got to look at him at 14. And the Falcons draft need. And people who follow me on Twitter, you know, on my Twitter at @DOrlandoAJC, they know that I'm a guy that says take the best player available. The Falcons don't necessarily do that. They'll go with a need-based pick. You can go back to Vic Beasley. You got Todd Gurley sitting on the board. One's going to be a star and one's going to fill a need. They took the need. Keanu O'Neal, they took a need. They needed a safety. They got him at 17 when he got him, you know, maybe Von Bell later, got another pass rusher or something. So at 14, we're expecting them to go need, and they need cornerbacks. So that's how you put that DeAndre Baker into the Falcons. And I did talk to them about him. And they agreed that he could play inside and outside in the NFL. And they like that he's a real tough guy that doesn't back down from anything.
No, he doesn't. He's very confident. He doesn't give up the big play. He's shown he can play zone as well as man, and really good against the run for a guy that's 5'11", 185. You hope he gets a little bit bigger in the NFL. I think the 40 will be big for him tomorrow as well, as he'll be going up against more elite athletes in the NFL. You know, during the Super Bowl week, it was certainly a showcase for the city of Atlanta, but also for the University of Georgia with all the Georgia players that were playing. Fran Tarkenton kind of called out the Falcons and said, you know what, I forget if he said stupid or dumb, but it was not complimentary, and said that the Falcons should have drafted more Georgia players. Are we really pointing at the Gurley pick as much as anything here, and is that a fair criticism?
No, it goes back. It goes back years. It goes back, you know, Jimmy German and Hines Ward. You know, it's a long list of the Falcons passing over Georgia players. Although, you know, they had Akeem Dent and some other guys that didn't work out. Milner, tight end, I believe. Another linebacker there. They had Thomas Brown. You know, so they've taken Georgia players. But, Mike, I talked to Dan Quinn about that. He said, hey, you know, I'm getting up there more often. I'm talking to Kirby a lot more. I got a better speed on the Georgia players now. I know I just asked him generally about the Georgia players, and he started naming them. So he's done his homework, and he's like, that Hardeman, he's a great returner. Their return game was kind of shaky last year with Harden and Hall. They're both free agents, so, you could see Hartman coming to Flowery Branch. Of course, they know about Baker and they love Holyfield. They don't necessarily need a running back, but, if he's sitting there in the fourth, they got an extra fourth-round pick. They're going to pick some Georgia players this year is with the indication I got from talking to Coach Dan yesterday. But, yeah, Fran is well within his reach. I know I might have tweeted that, hey, Fran's off his rocker. But he's right. They have done a poor job of scouting and pulling the trigger on Georgia players for whatever reasons.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Now, Georgia's doing their part, too, by the way. Some really talented Georgia guys. We had 10 guys at the Combine last year, 9 guys at the Combine this year. Let's finish up with this. I know you've got a dinner. This is a former football writers president, pro football writers president. I was a busy man. So tomorrow, a big day for Georgia. There's going to be 4 Georgia players that are going to do their podium interviews. I'm sure some will do the 225, the bench, number of repetitions, and then run the next day. Those 4 players in order. Mecole Hardman, a guy we just mentioned. Riley Ridley, Terry Godwin, who played MVP of the East-West Shrine game, and, of course, Isaac Nada, the tight end. Real quick, give me the storylines for each of those 4 guys. I guess we'll start with Hardman. I guess we're all waiting to see what type of 40 he runs, right?
Yeah, in the NFL, they're spreading out now, using a lot of college concepts. He can be Tariq Hill, Tariq Cohen type of smallish back. They've seen those explosive plays at Georgia, in the pass game and the return game. So people are going to want to see his not only 40 time, but the 3-cone drill will be a big one too, changing speed in short spaces. That's what they want to see in that 3-cone drill. So that'll be big for him. Godwin's got a little buzz about him too coming in here after winning that MVP at the East-West Shrine game. And so, they're going to want to see how he does in the catching drills. Riley Ridley is in the first round in some people's mocks. And I think, I'm just watching his brother and watching him, the precision with which they run their routes, that lets the NFL teams know that, hey, he can get open. He's going to be where he's supposed to be and win, and when we deliver him the ball, he's going to catch it. So that's going to be pretty big for him. And then I'm missing who's our
Nada, the Y.
Nada, the tight end. He's a Y.
2 types of tight ends, folks.
He's an F. The Y's the blocker. He's the pass catcher. And 240, I want to see what he weighs.
Says he can play at 255.
He needs to be at 255 because you gotta at least do some inline blocking, and you can't just be getting walked back to the quarterback. So if you're out there every time it's a pass play, then that's not part of the job. So I think a team, if they think his frame can hold the 10 extra pounds or 15 extra pounds, get up to 250.
He can work in that Y spot as well.
Right, not on every down, but he's got to be able to function at tight end, and that's what a lot of the tight ends have had trouble making the jump is the inline blocking.
So we'll have a lot more coverage from you tomorrow, myself and D. Orlando Ledbetter. I really appreciate you joining us here on Dog Nation. We'll do a Facebook Live at the end of tomorrow.
Yes.
Those 3 receivers will go, the tight end will go. You'll have more stuff on AJC.com. And where can they follow you on Twitter again?
On Twitter, at DOrlandoAJC.
At DOrlandoAJC. And, of course, I'm at Mike Griffith 32. Hope you all enjoyed this. Everyone have a great Thursday night, right?
Good Thursday night.
We got snow going on. We got snow. You enjoy the warmth and heat down there in Georgia. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Thanks.